Hi, hello everyone. I'm Azara, and this is a new episode for my podcast, Tristan. And you can find more information about this podcast in my website, which is www.azaradoradolaguna.com. So it's www.azaradoradolaguna.com. This podcast it's basically about my journey while I'm doing my master's in acting for stage and screen in East London University during the year 21-22, and I'll comment what we're doing in our classes and what I'm learning from the exercises that we are doing. And yes, if you are an actor or you are just interested about acting and you would like to know some exercises that might be handy for you, or some tricks or tips of what you can do to progress your career as an actor, maybe this podcast is for you. In today's episode, we're gonna see, we're just gonna revise what we did last Tuesday in Ed's class. So that was Tuesday, 22nd of February, 2022. So 22 to 22, magic number. In this class, we did something very particular. So our teacher is Ed. He's a very successful actor, and he decided to do something different this day. So we had a mock casting day. So we just pretended to go for a casting, and all of us did that during the class. So he said to us, like about a day before the class, what we had to do for the casting. So he didn't give us a lot of time on purpose for preparing the casting. And then we had to prepare more than one character. So I think we had to prepare 2 scenes. No, I'm correcting myself. So you didn't have to prepare more than one character, but you had to prepare 2 scenes. So you could have chosen the same character. And so he wanted to help us, to give us an idea of what's happening when you go for a casting and the different types of directors and casting directors you will find in a casting. So he played the character of easygoing director, casting director. He played the one that seems like he doesn't really care who you are, what you're doing. Another one, like a bit of a mean one, then bored one. So kind of like he tried to show us what were the situations we could find in a casting. So I really personally enjoyed this class, and I think it was very, very, very useful. And I know for a fact that I'm not the only one who thought that, because I talked to my classmates on Thursday about the class, and we all thought the same. So tips that he gave us, what should you do in a casting? Go for it. So you enter in that room not having anything, so really give all, it's like you don't have nothing, so you're not gonna lose nothing. The best thing that can happen to you is like you get the role. The worst thing that can happen to you is like you leave as you enter. So nothing to be afraid of. If you're going to push yourself, push your boundaries, exaggerate, and going for it. So that was the first tip. Second tip, be the character. So when you enter the room, you are the character you're playing. Like the director wants to see the character. He doesn't want to see you as an actor playing the character. He's looking for the character. So impersonate it. Come already as a character. He gave us some examples that of some very famous actors, like what they have done sometimes for castings. Yes, maybe can sound a lot, but as my mom says, who doesn't risk doesn't win. So I don't remember if it was Jay Lewis, but basically he was going for he did the audition, he did the casting, and then he thought it went quite well. And then he got this, the feedback of his casting was like, they were not giving him the character because he was too nice. So he wrote a letter to the casting director, really disturbing letter, which I'm not gonna say here what he wrote, but it was like really, really disturbing. And so he was invited back for a casting, and he behaved in a very, I cannot find a word better than disturbing way. And he got the role, he got to play the character that he was casting for. So saying that, as Ed was saying to us in the class, is, you know, it's not that you have to go to those streams, although if you feel like, you know, within, you can go to certain streams as far as they are within limitations, that you don't cross some boundaries or some limits. But yeah, you can go really for it in that regard. What can happen if you do something like that? So maybe some people are gonna think that you're crazy, or like, crazy maybe is not the word, mentally disturbed, sorry, that's much better. So they might think that you have some issues and they maybe don't want to work with you ever, or they might think that you are such an amazing actor, you know, that you're going to those limits and to embody the character. So that was one tip. Another tip, what he was saying, the relationship in between the director and the actor is very important. So it has to be a connection. So sometimes it doesn't happen. Like sometimes the director might not like you or not feel that connection with you, not because something on you or like you are this type of person that he doesn't like, but sometimes he's not feeling. And so his advice was, if you find yourself in this situation, it's much better not to work with that director. The same like the director doesn't want to work with that actor, and not to get that as a personal thing. It just happens, like this business, there is so much to do with the connection that you have with the people you work with, fellow actors, director, casting director, like everyone in like the crew, the cameraman. So it's really important to work in an environment where everyone feels okay. Then another thing that he was saying to us is the energy. So it's like the energy that you have when you go into to a casting. So you know, the director, they have seen so many people perhaps during the days, like you are the number who knows what to be cast. So you have to bring something to the table. You know, you have to do something that is just gonna take the director off the board. I'm like, okay, yes, what's your name? Okay, do that. You know, he has seen a lot of people during the day doing that. So it's not that you have to go like a high, yeah, like really high, but you're trying to keep the energy up. Another thing that Ed was mentioning, and he said that it's something that they particularly do in States, not so much here in the UK, but in the States, apparently they do that. So the actor controls the room. So it's not uncommon that the actor will come. It's like, okay, you're gonna put the camera there. I'm gonna be sitting here, and then I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna do this. So what he was saying is something that they do in the States, not here, but that idea of so the director can see that you really have worked the scene and you know what you're doing. You're not like, oh, yeah, let me okay, so I go for this part. No, it's like you are in control of what you're doing, because that is what the director wants to say, like somebody who is confident with what they do. Oh, this was an advice particularly for me. In my from my side, I have to say, I didn't misunderstand the question that was asked to me, but I felt I have to really, I felt I have to prove that I read the full script and I knew what the story was about. So that was why I was talking so much. Saying this, another tip, don't talk too much. So be nice, be polite, talk, but don't go over the top. So in my case, I was in a conference. So I got asked one question and I felt I have to let the writer know I knew what the script was about, the story was about, and that I understood everything perfectly fine, and I was ready to play the character. And my advice, the advice that Ed gave me was, one, don't do that. Don't talk that much. And second, which is very obvious, is the director knows what the story is about. So you don't have to say to the director what the story is about. So that's that's my personal tip that I'm taking. Then another thing that he was saying to us, so don't feel like you have to, if you have your casting and you are sitting, or you have a chair there, so don't feel like you have to be sitting. So if your impulse is like to stand up, to move, to throw the papers, do it. Don't hold back your impulses, as you would do in theater when you are like in a play. So that's very important. He mentioned about our voices. So don't hold your voice. Don't hold it because you think I might be screaming too much, or this is over the top. No, go for it. Don't speak like, don't try to be quiet and polite, because it is just not right in the environment of like being with other people, screaming or shouting or like speaking loud. If your character is doing that, then do it. Let me think about other tips that we were given. I think basically that's what it was about, what you're supposed to do when you're going for a casting. This is not it's not a tip, but it's a reality. So it's just something for us actors to acknowledge, accept it, and moving forward. So whenever you go for a casting and you don't really know how the casting went, so you cannot, sometimes you're gonna leave a casting thinking like, oh, I smashed it, it's like fantastic, I did so well, and then you don't get the part. And then sometimes you think like it was really bad what you did and you got the part. So get used to that. Get used to leaving the casting without really knowing what happened, and just leave it there. So it's done, move on. Don't keep it to your heart. If you think you did it so well and you didn't get the part, what the director is seeing, what the director is looking in an actor is the character. Okay, so the director has an idea of the character in his mind. So obviously when you have been cast by your agent for playing this character, so physically you are somehow similar to what the director thought about. Like in my case, it could be somebody with olive skin, dark hair, dark eyes, 170, average weight, average height. So that would be my casting type, okay? But then, let's say the director said that, but I am not, then my look, my face, or my body is not that one that perhaps the director thought about his character. I have the general characteristics of the character, but then I am not the character. And then perhaps my voice is different, or the way I move is different. So even though the general characteristics of the character are the ones I have, but then I don't have the other things that the director was thinking about, and they cannot pass on to the casting director, because they won't say, oh, it's moving the hand in this way, if you understand what I say. So maybe you smash it, it was amazing what you did, but then somebody else came after you, and that person is the character that the director saw, so that person got the part, you didn't. C'est la vie, it's all fine. Saying that, you should be always, of course, proud of what you have done, but like trying to do the best that you can do, because maybe you didn't get the part that you were casting for, but if you do a good casting, director will remember you, and obviously your casting director. So if the director liked you, perhaps you were not good for the casting that you went for that part, but if he remembers you, maybe in the future he's gonna call you for a different part, because he would think about you as like this is the person I like I know this person can do this character. So always give your best and be proud of a nice casting that you have done, and even if you don't get the part, for sure that is gonna bring you somewhere. So give it your best. And I think this is more or less what we did on Tuesday, and about casting, like what we can learn about castings and the tips that we can perhaps gather and apply for next time we're gonna go for a casting. So thank you so much. I will see you in our next episode. Thank you. Bye.